Justice Akatsuka is an orphan 17-years-old boy. He gets beaten by his grandfather every day. One day a homeless man gives him a strange tattoo, and he discovers that he can create black holes with his bare hands. The story begins with Justice saving a homeless man who's being harassed by some thugs. He quickly beats them down due to his grandfather's teachings, and the man tries to show his gratitude by giving him a stone with a strange painting on it. As soon as the stone gets into his palm, the stone starts turning into dust, and the painting becomes a tattoo engraved in his hand. Justice gets perplexed with tattoo and asks about it, but the man gets up and leaves without saying anything. In the next day, while hurriedly heading to school, Justice bumps into Izzy, who punches him right away, knocking him down. She apologizes and tries to help him get up, but an electric spark appears as soon as their hands touch. The girl gets up and leaves, advising him to be careful. Later that day he meets Izzy again. She quickly steals his phone and runs away into an abandoned building. He chases her, but she starts to attack him while asking him about his tattoo. Justice manages to block her attacks, and finally decides to take the fight seriously. He quickly tries to counter, but the girl treats him like her little plaything and beats him to a pulp. She then explains to him what the tattoos are. She shows him her tattoo, while telling that every tattoo needs a trigger to activate its powers. In her case, she needs chalk. Justice then heads home, where gets beaten up once again, this time by his grandfather, who tells him that he's strong as his dead father, who tried to save people while being weak. In the next day, Justice notices Izzy following him, while he heads back home with his crush, Tauko. He quickly tells his friend to go ahead and talks to Izzy, asking how can he activate his tattoo power. She tells him that different people have their own ways to activate its power. Suddenly, a man appears charging into them, forcing Justice to put him down with his fighting skills. But as soon as Justice turns his back to the guy, he punches Justice away with his tattoo power. Izzy's colleague reveals that the guy belongs to a US mafia who came to Japan to buy more tattoo powers. Justice gets up and starts to fight the guy, but the mafia guy tattoo power is super strength. He then grabs Justice's head to the ground and starts beating him. Justice starts to accept his end, but suddenly remembers his father's words. If he truly wants something, he just needs to reach his hand to grab it. He instinctively reaches his hand to the mafia guy, and his tattoo power activates after absorbing his blood, creating a black hole that blows the mafia guy away to his demise, revealing that he has the Void Maker, a unique tattoo that doesn't need a trigger. Justice wakes up in his room after passing out from using his tattoo power. There he sees Izzy and her colleague Tom, who quickly talks about the situation. She's from the United States Army, and she must retrieve the stolen tattoos. She further explains that a researcher stole the tattoos from the US and bought them to Japan. Therefore, she needs his assistance, otherwise, she will chop his arm off and return his tattoo to her country. Justice ends up accepting the request and meets them in their house. Tom asks him to pick a cardboard from the basement, but when he gets back up, he gets shocked to see Tom being stabbed by Tauko. Tom quickly tries to explain Justice that Tauko is being possessed by a tattoo holder, who wants to assassinate him. He quickly tells that the Princess Arya of the Selenistan Kingdom took over the country, and wants to get her hands on the tattoos to eradicate humanity. He further tells him to use the blood inside the card box he just got to trigger his tattoo, and defeat her. The possessed Tauko attacks Justice and kicks the box down the stairs. She tries to stab him multiple times, but he continues to dodge it. He manages to hold her umbrella's tip and use Tom's blood to activate his tattoo and increase his physical stats. But he still doesn't know how to use his own strength and ends up jumping too far to dodge, resulting on him getting stabbed in the shoulder. While the assassin tries to explain what is true justice, Tom activates his trigger and yells at Justice to restrain her. Justice headbutts her, and Tom removes the assassin from Tauko's body. The assassin pulls out her swords to finish the job and kill Tom first. But Justice gets enraged because her sense of justice just hurt Tauko, and gets in front of Tom to stop the blade. The sword pierces his hand, but his tattoo activates, healing his injuries and creating a black hole. He wants revenge on her for hurting Tauko, but as she rushes to slice his neck off, Tauko pulls him down to avoid the cut, and the black hole is released from his hand, destroying half of the house. For the next days, Justice ends up training with Izzy in her house's basement to improve his fighting abilities, but he's always beaten. Izzy may look like a teenager, but that's one of her tattoo's side effects. She's already in her 30s. In the end, she shows Justice why he is unique. Everyone who tried to get his tattoo power, Void Maker, ended up being dismembered by the tattoo itself. making him the only person in the world capable of using that tattoo. Some days later, Izzy and Tom lock Justice and Tauco in their basement to stop them from helping Izzy save a friend who was kidnapped by the assassins. Justice cannot stand there without helping and decides to run and help Izzy. He uses his tattoo to destroy the door that was locking him inside, but ends up destroying the whole house. Justice and Tauco head on a bike toward the docks where Izzy is fighting the assassin group to save her friend. As they get there, they immediately meet the assassin who possessed Tauco. They quickly engage in a fight, where Justice dodges her several blade attacks, but then uses his tattoo power to cut her blade in half. She quickly kicks him away and gets some new swords while approaching him. Justice starts to run away while Tom tells him through a communicator how he can beat the assassin. But it doesn't work, and he gets sliced with her blades. Tauco saw Justice on the ground and somehow activates a tattoo power and rushes to hold the assassin. She got a tattoo on her forehead after Tom took the assassin out of her body. Suddenly, Justice regrets not being able to protect Tauco, take him to another mental place. There, he hears a voice mocking him for not using his power to kill the assassin. That's the voice of his tattoo, who tells him that he has the power to negate everything. People, the world, and all creations. Infuriated, Justice stabs his stomach with his hand, telling him that he will even negate his tattoo voice and save Tauco. He then destroys the underground, creating a hole, and punches the assassin out to save Tauco. The assassin begs him to kill her, but suddenly, Princess Arya appears behind him, wishing to recruit him to her goal. She further tells if he joins her and helps her achieve her goal, his wish for peace will also come true. He quickly rejects it, and she vanishes away with her assassin, leaving him thinking about what is the US's true intentions to get the tattoos. A few days later, Justice meets BB, a skilled combatant who's also Izzy's ex. He trains him on how to use his Void Maker, explaining that he can use his power to even cripple someone just by looking at them. Justice asks how much should he train to reach that level. BB replies he needs to at least reach the point when he can make small holes in a thread, even though he needs to improve his power control. He cannot forget to train his body in martial arts. He wakes up after passing out from an exhaustive training with his grandfather and sees Tauco. They both share a watermelon, and at that moment, they share their feelings for each other and start dating. A few days later, Justice and his comrades set out on a mission to the Japanese tattoo ruins, one of the 4 ruins in the world where tattoos can be found. According to their intel, the princess should already be there trying to absorb the ruins' power to fulfill her plan and rewrite the world. She needs to absorb the power of all 4 tattoo ruins, and then she will control everything. Upon reaching the ruins, Justice jumps from the chopper to stop the princess's plan, and quickly meets Kal Shekar, the strongest tattoo holder in the world, who also works as the princess bodyguard. He notices their difference in power and decides to run away, but she simply teleports to him, and quickly uses her katana in a blink of an eye, injuring him multiple times. While on the floor, he uses his power to enhance his vision and sees BB appearing to confront Kal. But the princess suddenly appears beside him and pins him against a wall she created with her new powers, and then stabs him with some wood branches, while explaining that she leaked her location, so she could take their tattoos away. Justice tries to use his tattoo power to get free, but the princess reveals that her tattoo can easily negate him from activating it. Izzy manages to sneak up and tries to shoot the princess, but the princess power restrains her. At that moment, they both see BB falling to the ground. He starts talking to the source of his tattoo, requesting more power. Justice does the same. As Izzy begs him to save BB, Justice manages to break free and uses his power to stop Kal from attacking BB, enabling the latter to defeat Kal. But at a cost, BB starts to show an inhuman form and asks Justice to consume him. He rejects it, but the Void Maker shows its true form and eats BB against Justice's will. Justice gets on his knees. He cannot believe his tattoo absorbed his master. Tauco sees his shaken state and runs toward him to comfort him. But at that same moment, the assassin who possessed her turned into a huge lion and ate her in front of his eyes. The princess then leaves with the assassin while saying that she expects to see Justice soon, as he's destined to meet her again. They all retreat to Tokyo, but Justice cannot stop blaming himself for being too weak. He thought he had power, but in the end, he ended up losing his loved ones. Suddenly, Weissman appears, the same man who gave Justice his tattoo. He tells that human souls start getting corrupted after using the tattoo powers. The source of the tattoo starts to consume their soul, and once exhausted, they either overtake the host or cripple them. He further explains BB's intentions. Izzy appears behind Weissman, threatening him, but he quickly manages to convince them to go with him to finally finish BB's wish. He asks Justice to get into the chamber created by him, where he will be able to see BB's memories and how to eliminate every tattoo on Earth. Justice spent 1 year practicing to improve his skills, mostly the tattoo power that enables him to make better decisions, and secondly, his real combat experience by practicing against army members through paintball mock battles. They suddenly receive a video sent by Arya, who invites Justice to another tattoo ruin in the Grand Canyon. Justice and his group get to the Grand Canyon and fight themselves in a battle. The group decides to split up and force Justice and Tom to head to the ruins, while the rest take care of their opponents. Tom calculates that the cave is about 200 meters underground, and Justice uses his power to create a hole long enough to reach the cave and jumps down. Upon reaching the bottom, Justice meets Cal and they engage in a fight where he dodges her attacks. He then tricks her by aiming at her chest and then breaks one of her swords. The second one still hit him, cutting his stomach, but he uses his tattoo to heal it back to normal. She explains the princess wants to become a god and rule the world while attacking him. He dodges them all, but gets stabbed. He heals once again and promises to get revenge for Tauco. They both prepare for their last attack. She manages to injure his arm and leg. On her last attack, Justice sees BB's giving him tips and he manages to defeat her with his powerful blow. Suddenly, the princess appears after absorbing the power of another ruin. Justice ties his hair with Tauco's hairband and prepares to fight her after taking some pills from Weissman that will enable him to take full use of his tattoo power. He doesn't care about what will happen to him. He just cares about getting revenge. They start their attacks, but the princess can use shields to block, fly away, attack with laser balls, lightning attacks. She can do everything, leaving Justice with no chance at all to win the battle. She explains to him how he's always been her plaything. He's always been too weak to fight her. She creates a golem, and as she says that he's been dancing in the palm of her hand, she makes the golem close her hand and smash him. He uses his power to stop it and starts climbing the golem's arm. But at that moment, she reveals that he's been overusing his tattoo power, and punches him to the ceiling, while revealing that Weissman just used him as an offering for her to become god. Weissman never had real intentions to help him. Suddenly, his comrades appear and save him from the golem spikes that pierced him. They realize that Justice is in his limit. He can barely heal himself, but he doesn't want to stop there. He wants to defeat the princess. He wants to get his revenge. Tom carries him on his back. Why Izzy and Tamaki try to hold the princess, but she easily defeats them with an explosion and flies away. Justice sees Izzy falling and jumps down to save her. He doesn't want to lose anyone else. But in reality, Weissman had hoped that Justice would overcome the princess. In the end, he couldn't, but that doesn't ruin Weissman's plan, as he prepared everything, even tricking the princess. He activates the pills he gave to Justice, and makes him transform in a huge monster to fight the princess, who also became a monster. The wild monster battle begins, and the princess starts to overpower Justice, while the army tries to shoot at her to no avail. Justice, who has been unconscious inside the monster for the whole time, finally awakens. He starts to fight back and breaks her mouth with a punch. He apologizes to Izzy and BB for becoming a monster, and starts to overpower the princess. She takes punch after punch without a chance to fight back. They then start trading punch after punch, but Justice is still overpowering her. His experience in martial arts gives him the advantage. He opens the princess's monster mouth, jumps into it, and finishes her off to save the world.